Hey everyone, my name is Sandeep and in this video I will be showing you how to solve LeetCode problem 1947 maximum compatibility score sum. So in this problem you are given n questions and m students and m mentors, okay, and each question can have a value of 0 or 1. So these questions are answered by these students and these mentors and the values are given. So typically this is question 1, question 2 and question 3, and this is your student 1, student 2 and student 3. So in total you have m students. Similarly you have mentor 1, mentor 2 and mentor 3, and you have m mentors. Now you have to find the best possible matching such that you match each student with one of the mentors and you get the maximum compatibility score sum. So what is maximum compatibility score sum? Let's see. Let's first try to match one pair of a student and a mentor. So when I, let's say, match this particular student 1 with this particular mentor 3, what do I get? So the answers given by student 1 was 1, 1 and 0, and the answers given by the mentor 3 was 1, 1 and 0. So as you can see, for all the questions, question 1, 2 and 3, all the answers are matching for both the student and the mentor. So their score is nothing but the sum of all the values that are matching. So there are 3 values matching, so the score is 3. Let's consider the example. We take this student and this mentor. So student 2 is values are 1, 0, 1. So this is a 0 and this is will be a 1, and we again match it with mentor 3. So what do we get? The first answer matches, the second answer doesn't match, the third answer also doesn't match. So we know that only one value matches, so we have a score of 1. So in this way you have to match each student with a mentor such that you have to you can maximize this particular score. So let's see what is the score in this particular example. So my score is, so as I already know this and this fully match, so I try to match this particular student with this mentor, so I get a score of 3. Now remaining are these two and these two. So this particular value 0, 0, 1 for student 3 matches exactly with the mentor 2, which is 0, 0, 1. So since all 3 values match, the score is 3. Now the only pair remaining is student 2 and mentor 1. So we have 1, 0, 1 and 1, 0, 0. So the first answer matches, second answer matches, third answer doesn't match because it's a 0 and it's a 1. So it will be plus 2. So we have 8 score, and this is the maximum score that we can attain in this particular matching. Remember that each student should be assigned to one mentor only. At the same time, each mentor should be assigned to one student only, and we have to always assign all of these students. So you have to find the best possible matching such that this score is maximized, and the constraints for this problem are the number of questions should be around 1 to 8. At the same time, the number of mentors or number of students, which is m, which is actually nothing but 1 to 8. So those are the constraints. If I think of a brute force approach, it will be nothing but I try to find all the possible arrangements for this students array, which is nothing but 8 factorial ways of arranging the students, and for each permutation of this, or basically arrangement of this students array, I try to match it with every possible arrangement of this mentors array, which is again 8 factorial ways of arranging these mentors, and for each of I try to match each of those. So it will be nothing but 8 factorial ways of arranging the students cross 8 factorial ways of arranging the mentors. So this will give you a time limit exceeded verdict, because this is definitely exceeding the time limit and you have to think of a better time complexity solution. So pause the video here if you want to think of a solution by yourself. So this problem can be solved using bit masking plus dynamic programming. Whenever you see the constraints lying in the range 1 to 16 and you have to match a given array with another given array, then definitely bit masking is the route that you should take. In this problem also we had the constraints as m and n lied between 1 to 8. That means it's very less and we can definitely apply bit masking. We will definitely see if we could apply DP or not, but for now let's go ahead with this intuition. So first understand what bit masking is. So bit masking is nothing but a way to represent the data where 0 means value is not present, 1 means the value is present. This is typically what we do. Let's see an example. I take an array where I put some elements, let's say 1, 3, 9, 10, and let's say my bit mask value is nothing but 0, 1, 0, 1. What does this mean? This means that I have a mask value of 0, 1, 0, 1 and it contains the elements 3 and 10. Why does the mask value contains the elements 3 and 10? Because I already said that a value of 0 means the value is not present, a value of 1 means the value is present. So in this case, this particular value is 1, so that means 3 was present in my set, and this particular value was 1, so that means 10 was present in my set. So this bit mask basically represents this typically array, and it just tells me which elements are present in my set and which are not present. So what is the maximum length of this mask that I can have? Obviously the length of an integer is basically 32 bits, so at max 32 length mask I can have. For long it goes to 60 or 61 bits, so that is the maximum value of this mask I can have. That's the maximum array size that also you can have. That's why these limits are there. So for smaller values definitely I can use this mask property. Now there are two key things that you should know. Firstly, how to check if a particular bit in a mask is set, and if you want to actually set a particular bit, how do you do that? So there are two things. So you should know, first, if you want to check if the jth bit in a particular bit mask is set, how do you do that? You simply do a bit mask bitwise AND with one right shift j times. So to check if the jth bit in a particular bit mask is set or not, this is the operation that you have to perform. Second, if you want to purposely set the jth bit to true, how do you do that? So you have bit mask and you do bitwise OR with one right shift j times. So these two things you should definitely know, how to check a particular bit is on or not, and how to set a particular bit. If you don't know these two things, then definitely you should read about how bitwise AND and bitwise OR works and how these things, all these operators are performing. So once you know this, let's move ahead and see the recursive structure of this problem. So now that you know about bit masking, let's see how we can apply that in the original problem. So we had this 2D students array and the 2D mentors array. So each row in this 2D students array contains a student, like this is student 1, student 2 and student 3. Similarly in this 2D mentors array, this is mentor 1, mentor 2 and mentor 3. So each row represents a mentor. So let's see how we can represent these students in our student mask and mentor mask. So I have taken two masks representing these students. So student mask is nothing but initially all zeros, because initially I have not taken any student. We have 3 students here and 3 mentors here. Same goes for mentor mask. I have taken all 3 bits as 0 because initially I have not taken a single mentor. So typically what these values represent, so this bit represents student 1, this bit represents student 2, and this bit in the mask represents student 3. Same goes for this. This represents mentor 1, this represents mentor 2, and this represents mentor 3. So this is the representation of these students and the mentors. Now let's think. So we try to match student 1 with any of the mentors. So we can match student 1 with mentor 1, mentor 2, mentor 3. So let's print the, so what are 3 possibilities? We can match student 1 and mentor 1. We can match student 1 and mentor 2, and also match student 1 and mentor 3. So what do we get? Let's see. So we get 1 0 0 1 0 0, and obviously we get some cost x for when we match student 1 with mentor 1. We get some cost because that is the score that they get, which I have initially explained. So let's say here is the x double dash is the score and here x triple dash is their score. Now student 2 is not yet matched and it can be matched against mentor 2. So let's try to match that. Okay, student 2 can also be matched with mentor 3. So let's try to do that as well. So we have 1 1 0 and 1 0 1. Okay, so let's move ahead. We can also match student 3 with mentor 2 or mentor 3, but right now I'm not showing those steps. I will show you why. So let's move ahead. So I can show that again student 3 can match mentor 3. So I have 1 1 1 1 1 1. This is the base case where all the students and all the mentors are matched. Same goes for here. I match this with this, so I get all ones and I get all ones. So next I show this. So here we have matched student with mentor 2, so that means 1 0 0, and I have mentor 2 as 1 0 1 0. This student 1 and mentor 2 are already taken. Let's go ahead. Okay, now I take student 2 and I match it with mentor 1. So I have 1 1 0 and 1 1 0 again. I can also match student 2 with mentor 3. So I can have 1 1 0 and I can have 0 1 1 here. So for a particular student I try to match it with the mentors. So that is also done. So next I will have So remember that this state and this state is same. So this means we have repeating sub problems. This state and this state are the same. So we have repeating sub problems. So but for this state we do not have a similar pattern. So we will map these two now. We will get 1 1 1 1 1 1. That's the base case. Okay. Next, let's go to this. So we have student 1 and mentor 3. So we have 1 0 0 and we match it against third mentor. What are the next possible states? We have student 2 and we want to match it against mentor 1 or mentor 2. So we have 1 1 0 and we take 1 0 1. Okay, we also match it against this one. So we have 1 1 0 and we match it against this. So we have 0 1 1. Okay. So let's see, have we seen any of these steps already? 1 1 0 and 1 0 1 was already seen here. So that means this particular state and this particular state are same. So we can simply return the answer from here because we already know what is the state below this. That means we have again repeating sub problems. And also this state 0 1 1 and 1 1 0 is the same as this one. So these two states are again same. So we can again return the answer from here. So that was the recursive structure. Now let's try to understand why I only, for a particular I only moved ahead for all values of j ahead. Why did I do that? That's because the problems are repeating. So for a particular I know what all states I can visit. So let's say I actually move ahead and I again do this computation. So I check for student 2 and map it with mentor 1. So let's say here I have one more branch where I do this. I take this student 2 and map it with mentor 1. So what do I get? When I do it with mentor 1, I get 1 0 0. So have you seen this step anywhere where I am matching student 2 and mentor 1? Let's see. So yes, here in this step I am actually matching student 2 and mentor 1. So here I take student 2 and mentor 1 and I match them. And remember, I've already taken the other possibility, which is nothing but the previous step takes care of these two values and then further matching these two values in the below step. And the only other possibility that was matching these two, right? So there will be one more way. So where we have taken that in this, actually, if you see, we have already taken these two and here we are actually taking student 2 and mentor 1. So you should avoid computing this again because these are already computed. So for a particular I only need to compute a particular value of j which has not been set yet. So that means I can only keep this mentor mask and I can remove this student mask. Why? Let's see again. Because every time you can see, if this is my mentor mask, this already shows that one bit is set. That means already I have taken this particular bit. Similarly here also, when I say I have taken only one bit is set in my mentor mask, that means I have only taken one bit from the student. That means only this. Same goes for here. When only one bit is set in this mentor mask, I can already say that I have taken only one bit. Same goes for here also. If two bits are set, I have taken I equals 2, I equals 2, 2 bits are set, I is 2, I is 2, I is 2, I is 2. So that means I can ignore this and I can just take the mentor mask and set this is I is 0, this is I as 1, this is I as 2, and that's all. So that's all I can say for this recursive structure. Let's write the DP states quickly. This is my recursive function and this is, let's say, my mask at a particular value of I. So what I can do simply, I can traverse for each bit in this mask from j0 till j is less than m, because that is the number of bits, and I can simply check if mask ampersand 1 redshift j times is equal to 0. Okay, there will be one more. Yeah. So if this particular bit in the mask is not set, then what do? I again recursively call for mask or 1 redshift j times, comma, because this value has already been taken, I also increment the value of I because that's the number of set bits in my mask. So that's the recursive call that I made, and I add the score of matching the ith student and the jth mentor. So that is the recursive call that I can make here. So I take the maximum of these, of all the possible values of j here, and finally return the answer. Now let's see if you want to memorize it. So if you want to memorize it, we simply do dp of mask is equal to this, or dp of mask, whichever is maximum. We take the maximum of this or this, whichever is maximum, and finally return dp of mask from here. Here we can have the base case where if all the values are already set in this mask, we simply return, and if this dp of mask is not equal to some initial value that we have set, then we can also return from this here. We could not need to recompute again. So what is the time complexity and space complexity for this problem? So how many states do we have in our dp array? So this mask can be from 0 to 2 to the power m, correct? So we compute for all these values, so it's 2 to the power m cross how many transitions do we have? You should know that at every recursive call we reiterate from j0 till m, we check for each bit and we call that. So we actually there are m transitions where j is actually 0 to m, so we have m transitions. So 2 to the power m states cross m transitions. That's the time complexity for this problem. And what is the space complexity? Because we have taken a dp array of 2 to the power m, so it is nothing but 2 to the power m. So that's the idea for the solution. I will paste the code links in the description below. Feel free to ask any doubts or comments, and yeah, do make sure you like and subscribe this video before leaving. Thanks and bye.
हिंदू भाइयों शेयर करो, दबा के शेयर करो।